I'm a new DM, and I want to tell you about something that I've kind of been talking about for like the last week, and that is Dungeon Craft. This might be backwards because of my camera, I'm sorry, but it's Dungeon Craft Volume 2 by 1985 Games. I don't know if you can see that. Probably, I don't know, too shiny. Probably backwards because of my darn camera. But anyway, it is Dungeon Craft Volume 2 by 1985 Games. I've been talking about it for like a week now. I did a total flip through, so if you haven't seen that, you can go check that out. I'll have the link in the description. But today I'm talking about my experience using it, okay? And my final thoughts on it. So I don't like to just review like a product like, hey, I looked at the book or I looked at the thing and, there's some pretty art. I don't like to just do that, man. I like to actually use it and tell you all about it, because somebody can make something pretty, that don't mean that it works all that well. You dig what I'm saying? But let me tell y'all about Dungeon Craft Volume 2. First of all, let me say 1985 Games sent me a complimentary copy of Dungeon Craft Volume 2 so I can give y'all an honest review, okay? So there you go, just letting you know up front. But I did the flip through in the last video. Now I want to talk about what it was like to actually use it. If you don't know about it, what it is Dungeon Craft Volume 2 is 800 pieces of 2D terrain. So there's battle maps and there's tokens and there's like caverns, winter terrain, like a carnival theme, and oh shoot, I thought there was one other one. But I know there's like hags and stuff. Anyway, oh, and airships. Can't forget the airships. So, man, I might be forgetting one. But anyway, go back to my flip through and you'll see all of them. Anyway, so it's battle maps and tokens. It's all 2D. You got 800 pieces of terrain that fits in a box that's the size of like a D&D book. I mean, you throw that in your backpack and go, you got 800 pieces of terrain with you. Are you kidding me? Okay? Anyway, so what was it like to actually use those battle maps and tokens? Let me tell you about it. So before we even get to the game, my prep, as I was sitting down and I was writing the adventure for our game, I was like, you know what, I want to write an adventure where I get to use this stuff, so I'm going to use these maps as inspiration for the adventure. And I'm flipping through and I'm like, winter terrain or carnival, where am I going to go with all this? And I saw caverns. Oh, okay, so towers, that's the other terrain that's included. So there's caverns and there's towers, and I'm looking at it all, and I'm looking at the tokens, and I'm like, you know what? Something's coming together. So this is what I came up with, all right? Now, come on, man. Don't judge me on how great my writing is, but this is what I came up with, all right? So there is an artificer. This guy. This is a token that comes in the Dungeon Craft Volume 2 box. He's like a dwarf, probably meant to be like a fighter or something, but I just named him an artificer. Anyway, he has an airship that the players need to use. See the airship? Cool airship. I love airships. Ever since I played like Magic the Gathering way back in the day, and there was the Weatherlight, which was an airship. Anyway, my Magic nerds know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so the players need to use the Artificer's airship. There's a problem though. The Artificer, so he had a dear love, his beloved, and she passed away, and he went a little mad, and he got super paranoid, and he believed that people were out to steal his inventions. So he lives in a tower, well, in towers. He owns these towers, and he believed that people were out to steal his inventions, so he began building mechanized guardians and traps, and he made his towers into like ultimately his own prison. So it was meant to keep people out, but it ended up keeping him in, unfortunately. So now he's trapped in these towers. And so the heroes need to go in to the towers and free the Artificer so they can use his airship. Okay? You tracking with me? And you can't just go right through the front door because obviously the Artificer trapped the front door. So, airship aside, they have to go through underground caverns, right? And they're going to go through underground caverns, and then there's going to be a secret passageway into the first level of the first tower. So this was part of Dungeon Craft Volume 2. There's multiple different caverns, and there's straight pieces. Anyway, and they're double-sided, and I'm going to get to that in a second. So the heroes were going through there, and they would make perception checks. And if they passed the perception check, they would find the pressure plate that's on one. See, each one of these is 1 by 1 inch squares. There would be pressure plates somewhere along here, and if they passed the perception check, they found the pressure plate. If not, well, then there was a trap, and rocks would fall. Boom! And rocks fell on the players from time to time, and they would have to do a dexterity saving throw. And so it was cool because this is how the map started. And if you failed to find the pressure plate, and you stepped on it, that's how you found it. That's how the map looked after you did that. And so it literally changed in real time the map that the heroes were playing on. Anyway, set that one aside. So, oh no, the Artificer dropped. In the caverns, though, they found some gnarly gnolls. This is a token that's included in Dungeon Craft Volume 2. Some gnarly gnolls. Probably can't see them because my camera's terrible. And then after so the players fought the gnolls, and after one of the gnolls hit the players, there's a bloody gnoll, all bloodified. He's all blood hungry. Anyway, they killed the gnolls. They did find one of the gnolls' victims, just legs, kind of chilling in the caverns, just legs. One of the gnolls' victims, and anyway, yeah. So the heroes kill the gnolls, and they discover the legs, and then they move on towards the end of the cavern, and so the end of the cavern was this straight piece, and this is a little ladder. Once again, this token is included in Dungeon Craft Volume 2, so that would be their way up into the first tower. But then I put this here, which was like a fire trap that they had to get past. And so they did. Obviously, they got through the fire trap, got up the ladder, and into the first level of the first tower, which was this guy. And so they came up like under one of these barrels, and they came out, and they had to fight a mechanized guardian. Now, for the guardian, I used a token that I had from something else. I used this token, but it's something that I had from something else. And so they come out, they fight that guy, and then you see the stairs going up. They went up the stairs. Done with that piece. And into this room. This was the second level of the first tower. So they went up here, and then it was kind of mazy, right? And they had to fight another mechanized guardian, which wasn't that strong. And you see how all these rooms are furnished, pre-furnished? You know, that's nice. I don't have to drop a bunch of pieces of furnishing. But you see this chest here? I knew it. I knew my players were going to go for that. So you know what I dropped there? I dropped this mirror, right next to that door. Right next to that door, right? Because I knew they were going to go right for that chest. And you know what that mirror is? As soon as they walk through that door and they touch that chest, blow, son! Mimic mirror! All tonguey and biting on you, son! All right? So yeah, they had to deal with the mimic mirror, which they did. But it did get them. It did get them, but they beat it. Anyway, so yeah, they got so because I knew that they were going to go for these chests and things, I dropped, like, you know, I had rolled for for treasure and magic items to give, and whatever, you know, the items that I was going to drop during that session, I put a couple of them in this chest when they opened it, and then there was a piece of treasure in this chest and a story driven item in that chest. And then after they beat the mimic, this wall fell down, and what is this? Well, I used it as a teleportation circle. So they stepped on that, and bleedoop, bleedoop, they would teleport. That's my teleport sound. I don't know why. Deal with it. They would bleedoop, bleedoop to here, which is how they would access Tower 2, which is the artificers trapped in Tower 2, but you had to go through Tower 1 to get to Tower 2. So now they bleedoop onto here, and then they walked through here into Tower 2. Now Tower 2 gets a little interesting because when they go through here, they go through these doors, and what's you know, they see all this cool stuff, but also what's this? What's this? A displacer beast in a cage? Interesting. How do we take that? Anyway, they kind of looked around the room. They found some interesting papers and story stuff. And then they went up these steps. And they hit that top step. And as they walked into the next level, which was, what is this? A gladiator pit? They hit that top step. And bloop, of course, the door locked across the you know, the steps that they would be heading to go up. Oh, door locked. And then they heard something slam. And what they heard slam was the door of the cage for the displacer beast. The door slammed down and the displacer beast was free. So yes, they had a gladiatorial battle with a displacer beast, right? Which was really fun because the rogue's sitting there trying to pick the door lock. The ranger's keeping his distance on the other side of the gladiator map, and the barbarian and the fighters up close and personal hacking at the displacer beast. It was an interesting fight. Anyway, they did beat the displacer beast, and then they moved on. The door obviously unlocked, and they moved on up. And that is the personal chambers of the artificer, and they freed him. Yay! He's free. I think I called him Thoman. Yeah, I think Thoman the artificer. Yeah, so Thoman's free. Yay! I think I dropped Thoman. Where did Thoman go? Yep, there he is. All right. Yay! Thoman's free. And then they went up the stairs. Got like the top of Tower 2 with like a beacon, and then they would access the airship. And that was the adventure, and I built the whole adventure just based on the maps in Dungeon Craft Volume 2. Now, my experience, the player's experience, I dug it, man. I mean, they're super cool looking. I love 2D terrain because it's just, one, cheaper than 3D. I said this in other places. It's cheaper than 3D. It's easier to store. You know, it's laminated, and so you can write on it with dry erase and wet erase. Which, by the way, so I went through all those rooms. I forgot to mention, when I was doing my prep, I didn't write on it during the game, but when I was doing my prep, I took a dry erase marker, and I wrote numbers at the top corners, and that way when I did my notes, you know, this might have been like room 7, and then in my notes, you know, I write room 7, and then I'd write all the details about that room. So being able to write on them did help during my prep. On I thought that they were, I thought they were excellent. I mean, you know, the pre-furnished rooms look cool. I can, as a DM, I can drop things into these chests, and I can drop, you know, papers and journals and clues and hints for the adventure. Over here on like the desk where there's like personal scrolls and things. So as a DM, it worked out really well for me. I will tell you, you know, when I first looked at these, I was a little worried. Like, here's the Gladiator one again. When I first looked at this, I was thinking, man, I got 4 characters, and I got a Displacer Beast. This is a token from something else, okay? So this isn't in Dungeon Craft Volume 2. I just used it. But, I mean, I got a Displacer Beast, which takes up that many squares, and then I have 4 players. And at first, I'm looking at this, and I'm like, man, is this going to be a big enough battle map? You know? Or is it going to be kind of scrunched? Is the battle going to be scrunched? But, you know, that was one of my concerns going in. But no, it was plenty enough room for the rogue to be off by themselves trying to pick the lock. The ranger stayed on the other side of the map, firing arrows, pop, 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 pop. And the barbarian and the fighter were up close doing their thing, and there wasn't an issue. So no, my concern was unfounded. So it worked out really well for DM point of view. When I asked my players, I said, "What'd you guys think of it?" They liked it. They liked. They really like visuals, and this gave them visuals, and the furnished rooms and everything, I think was a real good touch. It really allowed them to see, you know, what they were walking into, and kind of get the feel for these rooms, and the feel of the adventure. Final thoughts. Now that I've used it. I really like it. And I mean, I've gone on about 2D terrain. I've showed the battle maps. I mean, there's not much more for me to say, but I really like it. And if what I've showed you or what I've said appeals to you, go check out Dungeon Craft Volume 2, or they have other boxes as well with different terrain and different tokens. You can check that out over at 1985 Games. I think it's .com. Or, you know, Google it. That would be better. Google 1985 Games or Dungeon Craft Volume 2, and that should bring it up. But no, man, my final thoughts is that I really liked it. And at first I thought I was going to need an X-Acto knife to cut these out. No, you can just use scissors. They cut out real easy, but they are durable. You could write on them with the dry erase, wet erase. And I love how modular they are. Like I said, I had this guy, and I just popped this in there, and boom, I had a fire trap. You know what I mean? You know, and players do interesting things sometimes. Like I had the legs, and they decided to pick up the legs, and they picked up a leg and they threw it into the fire trap. You know, players gonna do some stuff, man. But you know, that all happened. That cool moment happened just because, you know, there was a token with some legs and it got dropped on the map. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really dug it. And I think if y'all are interested in some 2D terrain, it'd be worth checking out. And I want to say a big thank you to 1985 Games. They're super awesome, super rad for giving me a shot to spotlight their product, and their product is really nice. And like I said, if you haven't seen my flip through, go check that out. I show all the battle maps and the tokens that were in Dungeon Craft Volume 2. So anyway, I think that's the end of it. I don't think there's anything more to say about this product. I mean, got to use it on the table, and it did what it was supposed to do, and it was fun. And it even helped me generate an adventure. You know, my players had fun. So, if you have any questions about Dungeon Craft Volume 2 or anything you saw in this video, please leave your comments below, and I read them all. I'll get back to you, all right? Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Sorry, it's a little late. I'm a little tired, man. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and you know the deal. Until next time, grab some friends and roll some dice, bruh.